Have to put in a lot of things here. What I want to do is theme.light because we want a light theme for our app. But if we just do light theme, what happens is this background isn't pure white. What I want is pure white, but it gives us somewhat gray. if we just do light, we'll have to put in a lot of things here. What I want to do is theme.light because we want a light theme for our app. But if we just do light theme, what happens is this background isn't pure white. What I want is pure white, but it gives us somewhat grayish color. So I'm just going to copy with and pass in a background color which is scaffold background color and change it to palette dot white color. Palette dot white color is basically colors dot white. We are just storing all the colors in one single class so that whenever we want to change the theme of our app, we can do it from one class itself. Also, one thing I want to do is use material 3 set to true. That means my entire app is of the design of material 3. If you want to check out the difference after we build the UI, you can set it to false and see how it looks with and without material 3. There's not not much difference, but it just looks better in my opinion with material 3. Now let's get to the home page and start designing the app. So the first thing that is required is the app bar. And just so that we are on the same page, I've opened this file. So this is how our app bar looks here. What we need is a title, and then in the corner we need this menu icon. So let's get it. We have an app bar, we'll pass in an app bar. Then in the title, we are going to pass in a text which is going to have a text of Alan. And also we'll put a const, and then in the side we need this icon. So to get this, we are going to pass in a property called as leading with icon as icons.menu. This is also going to be a const, and save it. Also, since we added some things to our pubspec.yaml file, let's restart our app and see how it looks. So app has restarted, and if we see, we are having an app bar with a app our pubspec.yaml file. Let's restart our app and see how it looks. So app has restarted, and if we see, we are having an app bar with a menu icon. But if you closely observe, the color of the app bar is different from this body. The reason for that is in the main.dart file, we have registered a theme where the scaffold background color is white color, but we have not specified that the color for this app bar should be white as well. So to do that, we are just going to mention app bar theme over here, pass an app bar theme, and the background color is going to be palette dot white color. Then we can save it.
होस्टिंगर एआई वेबसाइट बिल्डर का इस्तेमाल कर अपनी वेबसाइट आसानी से बनाएं। प्रॉम्प्ट बॉक्स में अपनी जरूरतों का विवरण दें और एआई आपके लिए एक यूनिक
And if we see, both of them are of the same color now. Also, in the title, right now it's in the center because we are running it on an iPhone simulator. But if we run it on an Android, it's in the center. We are going to have center title set to true. So let's go to home page, and here we'll pass in center title true. Now we need a body, so we are going to have a body where we are going to pass in a column, and in those columns we are going to have a children. Why do we need a column? Because if you see this, we are going to have this image, we are going to have this part right here, we are going to have this text, and then we are going to have these 3 suggestion boxes. So we need a column so that we can lay them in a vertical orientation. So let's pass it in. The first thing that's needed is this part right here. So let's figure out how to work on this part. If you closely observe, this image is bigger than this circle. That's the kind of design we want. So we can't use just a container passing in the background image over here. What we need is a stack so that we can have a circle background, and on top of it we have this virtual assistant picture which looks slightly bigger than the circle behind. So to demonstrate in code, what I'm talking about is just having stack, then we'll have children again, and the first child that I want is this circle behind, because that's how stack works. Thing that you mentioned first is going to be below. So we can just pass in a container where the height is suppose 120, the width is 120, the margin is constant edge insets dot only, and from the top I want 4. That means the app bar and this, they're not stuck together, and there's a difference in them. But if I do just this much, it's not visible on the screen. To make it visible, I need to add a color. So I'm just going to pass in decoration, which is going to be box decoration, pass in a color, and the color is going to be palette.assistant circle color. Now if I do this, you can see this right here. But it's a square, right? It's not really a circle. So to convert it into a circle, we'll pass in a shape property, which will be box shape dot. Circle. And then we have a circle with us. That's looking great. But what I want to do is put it in the center. So to do that, I'm going to wrap my container widget with a centered widget.
With Google Workspace, you can create a Gmail account with your own domain.
After we do this, this comes right in the center. Perfect. Now that I have circle with me, let's put a const here. I want the virtual assistant picture to show up. That means I want to access this virtual assistant image. So to do that, I'm just going to pass in another container. Then I'll pass in a height. Which is going to be 123. I said it's going to be slightly bigger than the circle, right? That's why the height is 123. Then the decoration, which will be box decoration. Shape will again be box shape.circle, so that we have this aligned with the circle that's going to be behind it. And then we'll pass in the image. And the image property is present on the container. We didn't pass the image property here, as I said, because we want this image to be slightly bigger than the container. So we have this image, we'll pass in the decoration image, and then the image here is going to be asset image because we want to get access to this image, right? So we'll pass in the asset, which is assets slash images slash virtual assistant dot png. And save it. Now let's put a const over here so that we remove the warning. If you're wondering why I'm getting the warnings in line, it's because of the extension here, which is error lens. So it will show all the errors to you in one single line. And now if we take a look at the app, here we have it. Let's expand this app so that it looks bigger. After this, what we need is this part right here. It looks like a chat bubble saying, "Good morning, what task can I do for you?" So in this case as well, we are going to use a container. So let's get out of the stack. So this was the profile part. Let's call it virtual assistant picture. After this, we need to work on the chat bubble. Let's call this chat bubble because this is the place we are also going to get our outputs, right? Now let's get to our container. We are not going to specify any height because whatever height we specify, it might exceed that. For example, "Good morning, what task can I do for you?" has a specific height, but But if the chat GPT's response comes, it's going to be bigger than this. So we can't specify any proper height because we don't know what the output is going to be and how many characters long it is going to be. So for this, we are not going to mention any height. We are just going to tell whatever the space of the text is going to be, take that much space. but leave some padding for us.
The biggest AI competition in India has already started. Are you ready to stand out with the language?
Whatever you do, just leave some padding for us. So here we are just going to pass in a padding which is going to be constant edge insets dot symmetric, and if you see from the horizontal direction I want a space of 20, and from the vertical direction I want a space of 10. So let's pass it in from horizontal 20, vertical 10. Other than this, what else I need is a space from here. So I can either use a sized box over here, or I can just specify margin, which is going to be constant edge insets dot symmetric horizontal 40. So it leaves a margin from here, you can see that. And from the top also I need one margin. That's what I'm going to do now. So from horizontal I need 40, but down below I need 30. But I don't want it at the bottom, so I cannot pass in vertical 30, because from the bottom I don't need 30. That's why what we are going to do here is dot copy with. So it's going to copy the horizontal value, which means left is 40, right is 40, and from the top we are going to specify 30. Now let's just see the container, how we've got that. So we're going to pass in a decoration, which is going to be box decoration border, and border is going to be border dot all, where we need to pass in the color, and color is going to be palette dot border color. So from all the sides we are having a border. Border, and the border is of this border color. Now let's see how it looks, and here it is. Now it is not like this, but we can work on it. First of all, this container is looking very small because we don't have any text in it. So let's pass a child to this container so that we have a text, and we're going to call this text good morning. What task can I do for you? Okay, so let's put a const over here. Let's increase the font size as well. So we have style const constant text style, where the color is palette dot main font color. Also, let's remove a const here because the text is already a constant, and save it, and here we go. But the text here isn't very big, so let's increase the font size, so that's 25. Save it, here we have it, but the text isn't looking like this. So we need to change the font family, which we've already registered in pubspec.yaml file. If we scroll down, so let's pass it in font family Serra Pro. It should be exactly what you've typed over here, and then save it. And you see the text has changed, and this looks much better. However, what I want to do is this text should have much more padding from the top. So I'm just going to wrap this text with a padding widget and then have constant edge insets dot symmetric. From vertical, I want, let's say, 10. From constant edge insets with a padding widget, padding from much better. However, what I want to do is this text should have much more padding from the top. So I'm just going to wrap this text with a padding widget and then have constant edge insets dot symmetric from vertical. I want, let's say, 10. Let's remove cons from here, and make this entire padding widget a constant. Let's come over here and this looks better. Now what I want to do is style this. So I want to give it a border radius like this, but here the border radius shouldn't be there. What I mean is, if you look at this part, this part has a border radius, this also has one, this also has one, but this one doesn't 20, and then we can pass in border radius dot circular 20. If we do this, the entire thing is now circular. This looks good, but if you see carefully, this part is also rounded. We don't want it rounded. So what I'm going to do here is border radius dot circular 20 dot copy with and the top left part, because this is top left, and we are going to mark it as 0. And the argument type int cannot be assigned to the parameter type radius, so I'm just going to pass in radius dot 0. because it requires a radius, and the radius here is 0. Save it, and here we have it. This part doesn't have a border radius, and all of these things have. And it looks good. Now after this container, the next thing we need is this text. So let's call this suggestions list. But before that, we are just going to have our text, which says, here are a few commands or whatever. Let's see what it says. Here are a few commands. Let's call this, here are a few features. Then we are going to have a style, text style. Font family is again Serra Pro. If you're wondering why we didn't specify the font family over here in the theme itself so that we don't have to type again and again, it's because font family is not present in copy with function of theme data.light. If you just use theme data, you'll be able to pass in font family, but when you're using copy with, you don't have access to it. That's why we constantly have to type it out. Here the color is going to be palette.main font color, and font size is 20. Font weight is font weight dot bold. So what I've done is given it a shorter height than this. The color is the same and I've bolded it. And if you see, here are a few features. But still this isn't looking very good. So I'm just going to wrap this text with an align widget where I'll pass in the alignment as alignment dot isn't looking very good. So I'm just going to wrap this text with an align widget where I'll pass in the alignment as alignment dot center left, because I want to shift this to the left, right? So I'll save it and here it goes. But still this isn't enough because it completely shifted it to the left hand side. I still want the padding to be there. So what I'm going to do is convert this align to a container. Container is basically made up of several widgets. If you just go inside it and inspect, it's made of alignment widget, padding widget. So we can pass in alignment here. Then we can also pass in a padding which is constant edge insets dot all and then I'll pass in 10. Save it, and here we are. Also, I need some kind of, you can say, margin from here. So we can leave that margin. We have margin edge and sets dot only. From the top, I'll leave, let's say, 10, and from the left, I'll leave 22. And then save it. So here we go. Looks good. Also, let's pass a constant over here. Looks great. In this case, padding and margin are doing the same properties. I just wanted to showcase it to you. If you want, you can just integrate this with a single padding property. But basically, in this case, margin and padding are the same things. Of course, if you add borders and stuff, it becomes different. But for our use case, both of them are doing the same thing right now. After having that, we'll get to the suggestions list. The suggestions list is basically this boxes right here that tells us features. So let's just call it features list. And let's figure out how to get done with this suggestion boxes. So here I'm going to specify a column widget, pass in children. And why do we need a column widget? You'll understand that when we start integrating the ChatGPT and DALI API, it's basically like we will cover this entire column widget with a visibility widget so that we can conditionally show this column, and it will be much more easier if we have all of these three boxes. boxes that do the same work in a single column, but you'll get a greater idea when we get to the integration part. For now, I would recommend you to just follow along. So the next thing is this feature box, and since we have three of them, what I'm going to do is create a reusable widget for it in the lib folder. Let's call this feature underscore box dot dart import material dart. We are going to create a stateless widget for here and call it feature box. The point of this feature box is just to showcase the features, nothing much. So here we are going to have a container where we are going to have a margin, and the margin is going to be edgeinsets.symmetric. And if you see from the horizontal direction, we have a greater margin, let's say 35, and from the vertical direction there's 10, because the space over here as compared to here, you can see the difference. This is vertical, this is horizontal, right? So let's put a const over here. Then come, and from the vertical direction there's 10, because the space over here as compared to here, you can see the difference. This is vertical, this is horizontal, right? So let's put a const over here. Then we might also need decoration, which is box decoration, so that we can pass in a color. And also need horizontal, right? So let's put a const over here. Then we might also need decoration, which is box decoration, so that we can pass in a color. And the color is going to be taken from the constructor, because each of these boxes have a different color, right? So here I'm just going to ask final color color. Let's add the final field property. Now I can use this color over here. Then we are also going to pass in a border radius, which is border radius dot all radius dot circular 15. So we are just adding a border radius. We don't have any border. The border is not there, but there's a border radius here, which will help us clip out things. Let's put a constant here as well. We won't be able to see anything, so let's take this feature box, paste it over here. We'll pass in the color. The first color is going to be palette dot first suggestion box color. I couldn't think of any better name. My apologies. And we're still not able to see anything, but that's because we have not put a child to it, so it doesn't have any height. Once we add a child, it will be able to show it to us what we've got. So here we'll pass in a child, and the child is also going to have a column, and then we are going to have children. The first child is text, and this is just going to be this header text. So let's take it from the constructor, because every feature box has a different header text. We'll have this, let's require it. We have required this dot header text. Pass in header text. Then we'll have style, text style. Font family is Serif Pro. If you're annoyed by writing it and feel like you'll forget and mistype this, what you can do is just save it in a new file in a variable which can be used anywhere in your app and just keep using it. That would be a better technique so that you don't have any errors and spend hours on it. So let's pass in a color, and color is going to be palette.main.font.color. Let's not take main font color. This should have a black color, so let's pass in black color. The font size should be 18 and font weight should be font weight.bold. Save it. Also put a const over here. We'll go to the home page. We'll pass in our first header text, which is chat GPT. Save it. Pass in black color. The font size should be 18 and font weight should be font weight.bold. Save it. Also put a const over here. We'll go to the home page. We'll pass in our first header text, which is chat. GPT. Save it, and here we have it. Doesn't look good at all, but this will be better when we have this line right here, because it will take the entire screen width, right? So let's ask for a description text as well. So we have final string description. Text. Then we are going to require it through the constructor. I'm just going to copy this text and make changes over here. So I have text This is going to be description text. The font family is Serif Pro. The font size is not 18, it's going to be the default one, 14 or 16. Whatever. The font is not bold anymore. And that's basically it. So let's pass in a description text. What is our description text? A smarter way, and all of these things. You can make your own. Just paste it over here. And if we come, you can see the box is now bigger, but it still doesn't look very good. Come, you can make your own. Just paste it over here. Bigger, but it still doesn't look very good. There are multiple problems with it. First of all, the padding problem. So let's pass in a padding to this column so that, these texts have certain padding to them. It just looks cleaner that way. There's some padding right here. It just looks cleaner that way. So let's pass in a padding widget where we are going to pass in constant.edge_insets.only. Top is 20, left is 15, bottom is 20 again. So what you can do is, since top and bottom is 20, you can add edge insets dot symmetric vertical 20. So that means top and bottom is 20, and then we want left to be 15. So we are just going to have copy with left 15. So it's the same thing like top 20, bottom 20, left 15. It's just another way of doing it. Bottom 20, left 15. 15. It's just another way of doing it. And we have a better looking box here. It doesn't look, very messy. Next thing I want to do is take this chat GPT text and push it to the